Hi, hello. My name is Ehab, and today I will be with Monica. Both of us are software engineers in Bloomberg. We are working in the department, the community department, which is providing some communication and collaborations tools for Bloomberg terminal users. Just to start, I want to thank all of you for attending today, and I want to thank the organizers for organizing this and inviting us today. Today, we will be talking about how we utilize load testing to enable us to scale our system and release new exciting features. So basically this is the agenda that of things we'll be talking about today. We will give you some introduction about the components and the product we were testing, how we planned the test, how the testing journey itself went, and what we learned out of this. Just like a disclaimer or a note. This is our own experience. Some decisions we took were very specific to the system we have. The main target of this talk is kind of like make you go through our thinking process, like things like what trade-offs did we consider, the questions we asked ourselves, and the pragmatic decisions we took at the end. We hope that by the end of this talk, you will get some thinking framework that may be helpful for you. In Bloomberg, we have the Bloomberg terminal, which is kind of provides for financial professionals some data analytics and other tools to help them. And IB, which is short for Instant IB, is one of these things. IB is basically instant messaging app. So you can think of it as just a chatting app. And one of the features of the chat app is group chats. Just some context, IB is there for around 20 years. We had group chats, and more recently, we released a new type of group chat that's coming with more features and like new stuff, modern stuff. Because this is something new, it was released only internally, and it has a limit in the number of users inside the group chat. And what we wanted to do is release these features for everyone, so everyone can benefit of the new features. And to do this, we wanted to migrate all the old group chats to the new type. And basically to do this, we want to gain confidence in the system performance for the new type of the chat. So this is a kind of very, very, very high level of the IB system. You can see it like we have IB UI. In reality, this is many, many components, not a single one. IB backend, a lot of components, a lot of data stores, some event log, and many consumers. I need to stress this is just like simplified view for presentation purposes. In real life, it's totally different. These components are owned by different teams, some of them even outside of our department. And the communication between them is not like this straight arrow between each of them. It's much more complicated. Now we know what we want to do, and we want to test the system. We need a plan for this. We started with asking ourselves some questions, like things, what exactly do you want to test, and what we are trying to achieve during testing, like when can we say this test is successful, and how to do this without impacting any real users. So for the first one, what workflows to test? We went with the migration workflow. So basically, you can think of this it's just a button for the UI, very simple button. You click on it, and your room will be migrated. But in the back end, this is much more work. So you can think about we create a new room, or migrate users, we migrate configurations, history, and a lot of more things we do in the back end. And you can see that this is kind of complicated and new workflow. So we thought we need to test it thoroughly. There are other workflows that we tested, but we will focus on this one during this presentation. Also, the new and old types of group chats, they were sharing a lot of common infrastructure, which already had its own metrics and its own testing. This is, I would say, one of the most important things that you need to answer before starting doing any kind of testing. You need to decide what you are trying to achieve out of this test. This can be like different things. For ourselves, it was as simple as defining some SLOs for the new workflow. And it go without saying, we need also to keep the current SLIs within bounds, not only the new introduced one. Now, isolating the test traffic. I will just start with saying that this can happen in different levels. So you can think of it as happening in having different cluster for testing and normal traffic. You can have it in the, like some routing, special routing for testing traffic, or even in the data level. In our case, like here, we have kind of some isolation in the network/environment level. So we consider this option. We consider Dev and Docker, which provide very, very good, like close to perfect isolation, but they don't provide very good accuracy because they don't really mirror or represent the production environment. And we had also beta option. Just to be clear, beta in our context it's a staging environment. Some of the internal users, like people in our development teams, for example, can hit it. So it has some internal traffic. Based on what you are trying to do, you can go with different options. So for example, if you are just testing one component, most probably it may be better to test it in Docker or Dev. But if you are using or testing many components or the whole system, you may consider other options. And for sure, if you are doing something like this, beta or other options, make sure you include off switches and include your safeties and recoveries in your plan. Cool. This is, I would say, the most important and critical point of the planning stage, which is reviewing it. And first bet in reviewing or making people to review it is to identify who should review it. In our case, it was a huge system and affecting a lot of people. Identifying these different stakeholders can be business, it can be engineering, is not straightforward. And you need to check who will be impacted by this and try to communicate them. Make the instructions of running the test as clear as possible in your document so they can review it better. Include any links you have for the dashboards or anything else. And if you scheduled any tests, also announce it and announce the date for the upcoming tests. This is very valuable because these people know their parts of the system better and they can have very valuable input in your testing plan. But this is not the only reason. Maybe other reasons that's very important is it kind of builds trust between different teams. Cool. So we kind of answered some questions and we kind of have some plan now. We will go through how this plan went in action, and I will leave Monica with this.
Thank you. It's my turn. Okay, thank you, Ehab. So moving on, we started running our tests. Let's have a look at how we entered the loop of running our tests, measuring the results, and then making improvements in the system based on the results that we got. So to start with, because we are primarily backend engineers, we focused on load testing our backend. So we just wrote a bunch of scripts that would set up an old chat room, add the desired number of users we wanted to test with to this room, and then just send a request to migrate the old room to a new room and record the processing time. Now, this is all nice, but obviously not enough. We thought that, to start with, it's really important to have a good overview of the health of the whole system. So yeah, just imagine things like having Grafana dashboards with all of your, like monitoring all of your SLIs, or aggregating your logs from all of the services into one place and yeah, being able to access them easily. In our case, we had many dashboards already set up by our SRE team. We just had to set up some new ones for the new workflows that we were having a look at. Now, this is great. We have the overall view, the overview of the health of the system, but we know if it's healthy or not. But how do we efficiently find the slow components? And we don't just want, because we don't just want to go left and right, improving random code here and there. We want to find what is like the actual culprit at any stage of the system. We found a really nice quote in a book called The Phoenix Project that kind of embodies this idea. It says, any improvements made anywhere besides the bottleneck are an illusion. So with this in mind, how did we actually find a bottleneck? Well, we used distributed tracing. If you haven't tried it before, check it out. It's really nice. Distributed tracing essentially means attaching a unique trace ID to every request that enters your system. And then it involves propagating this trace ID along every event that is kind of originating from this request. So if you set it up correctly, you can actually monitor the request journey through every hop through the system. And the hop can be another microservice call. It can be a database access. It can be going to a consumer of an event log, anything. So if you do this in a complex system, it's extremely powerful because you might know what are your immediate dependencies, but it's hard to know what are their dependencies. So yeah, by using this practice, we just, first of all, managed to find what were all of the components of the larger infrastructure that we were having an impact on, and then actually pinpoint what were the exact slow ones. Cool, so we started improving them, and what was really interesting here was that most of, like the vast majority of improvements we had to make were actually quite trivial, just like batching some requests together, or splitting some batched requests into smaller chunks, just like tweaks here and there. So we did all of this, and yay, we hit our success metrics. And yes, sorry, just joking. We are not done. We thought we were, but no. Let's put our tests to test. So we had hit really good results, and we said at this point, okay, let's try actually migrating some old rooms to new rooms and see how that goes. Well, yeah, we tried it, and surprise, when users are added to the new room, they immediately start interacting with it. So people open it, they read the room content, they post in the room, they react to posts, they see something new and shiny in our case, and they send memes. This is madness, and our tests had not at all accounted for this extra interaction with the system. And like there are a lot of other interactions from the UI application that also we hadn't really been aware of. So yeah, some of our services did see some negative impact, so it's clear we need to update our tests. Yeah, we needed to test the whole system end to end, including the UI, and also simulate more complicated sequences of user actions. Now, in our case, because we have group chats and we need to have multiple users running at the same time, this is a bit harder to achieve. Like, we needed a fleet of UI clients running in parallel, but luckily we had this infrastructure available in Bloomberg, running on virtual machines. So yeah, we just used that. We spinned up the VMs, we ran the UI clients with test accounts, and yeah, by using the already set up monitoring infrastructure, we found the final bottlenecks. We fast forward, achieved test success metrics, migrated all the old chats to new chats. But what did we learn from this? Well, first of all, we learned that in a world of event-driven, complicated microservice architectures, it can be really hard to find your bottlenecks, but also trivial changes can result in massive consequences, both good and bad. So because it's so complicated, it's important to plan your test, review it with your stakeholders, have clear success metrics, and to do this safely, isolate the test traffic, or at least have safeties in place. And yeah, as a bonus thing from us, we noticed that it was like a huge win for us to make running the tests and monitoring the results as easy as possible for two reasons. The more often you're able to run your tests, the more likely it is to notice latent issues in the system. And also, the faster you are able to gain feedback on any improvements that you make. So yeah, this has been a really cool project for us. And if you want to hear about more of the cool things that we do at Bloomberg, here's our careers page, here are our contacts, and also come say hi at our booth. Thank you.